I was raised back in the Depression. Times was pretty bad. Guess I got the occupation of punching cattle from my dad. Way down yonder in the cedar breaks on little greasy sack outfits, it was mostly held together by hard work and hair and spit. Don't know how it was where you were raised, but out in my part of the West, about the time you get you weaned, it was time to leave the nest. 'Cause just one man's all the labor these little outfits seem to need, and a big old kid like me around, just another mouth to feed. That suited me all right, 'cause school seemed mighty slow, and I thought by then I knew about all a man was supposed to know. And I knew that punching cows, that's where I'd make my stand, 'cause by that time I was pretty sure I was quite a hand. Well, there's jobs aplenty. You could find them by the score. It was right there in the middle of that Second World War. And most of the outfits around was glad to give you coffee, meat, and beans with all the cowboys in the Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marines. So I hit a salty outfit I heard was tougher than a cob. Boss said, "Unload your saddle, kid. You found yourself a job." Well, then he started talking horses. Well, he must have read my mind, because he asked me, "Can you ride that old high-stepping kind?" I answered him in a voice that wasn't meek or small, and I said, "I figure that's the kind that suits me the best of all. I like 'em energetic, and that's the kind I'd pick, 'cause I was built plumb forky, kind of like a witching stick." Well, that outfit, they'd been breeding up their horses quite a spell, and they kept the kind they figured suited these parts pretty well. Or they wanted something big and stout, but also they needed speed and quickness for the catch and work a cow. So they got some big thoroughbred remount studs to start that herd of theirs, and they bred them to some great big feather-legged Percheron mares. Oh man, they were catty. Near outpull a truck, they'd make them big old circles, and hot dang, they sure could buck. Well, the first morning we had breakfast quite ahead of dawn. Boss man led me out a horse that his name was Leprechaun. I asked him, "Why'd you name him that?" He said that the reason's pretty clear. If you don't take his head right quick, it's apt to disappear. He said, "While you're riding out today, I want you to look around. You'll see there's a lot of little holes been poked into the ground. They weren't put with badgers or prairie dogs," he said. "If you'll note, they're about the same size as a bragging cowboy's head." Well, I rode that horse that day down through valleys over knolls. I didn't gather many cattle, but man, I drilled a lot of holes. And all fall around the rope corral, you had to look out, you see, 'cause every morning it was raining, mostly raining me. And all them other cowboys started following me around. You know the reason why? They figured I was taking lessons, learning how to fly. It was plumb entertaining when I heard some feller say he allowed as I was flying a little further every day. Another boy piped up with a Sunday school smirk. He said, "Kid, your flying's plumb amazing. But man, your landing sure need work." Then the conversation took another nasty little twist when the cook said he thought he might ought to add some birdseed to his list, because if I kept on flying and it looked as if I might, he could scatter some along the ground for the time I chose to light. I don't know why I didn't quit. Surely wasn't pride. Hell, I lost all that when I couldn't find no horses I could ride. Nor the reason wasn't all them wrecks and spills I took, and I was either peeled or bruised up some most any place you'd look. I guess the reason was that if I didn't stick around and I let them run me off, I knew I'd never live it down. So then I thought it over, and I reckoned as of how I was the one that called the dance tune, so I'd pay the fiddler now. No matter what you're doing, whether it's hard or tough, you're bound to get some better if you practice long enough. And let me tell you, partner, out amongst them rocks and cactus, them old pony was making sure I got a lot of practice. But then one early morning, I pert nearly crowed when a big black horse took to me, and I finally got one rode. But it weren't no time for crowing when I heard some feller drawl, "That old horse thought there was 3 or 4 up there, and he couldn't throw you all." Then the jigger boss said to me with kind of a sideways glance, "Quit whipping on them horses' head with the butt end of your pants." But an old horse took to me one day out on the road deer ground. I heard somebody holler, "Hey kid, your butt's getting out around." So my luck had got some better. At least it was, as of late, I wasn't spending quite all my time cluttering up the real estate. When the wagon pulled in that fall, it was snowy, cold, and damp. I asked the boss what my chances were for a winter job in camp. Well, he looked at me a minute, searching like and slow. By the look he had on his face, I thought he was about to tell me no. But he scratched his head a little and he bit himself off a chew and he said, well, now, young feller, I'll just tell you what I'll do. He said, I got a camp still open over on the Peach Spring side. I just might let you have it and some horses you can ride. Because I think you'll make a cowboy, at least that's my suspicion, and I'll keep you through the winter, but just on one condition. He said, this outfit or any outfit that a man is apt to find is always going to have some of them old high-stepping kind. So I want you to promise me that as you go down the pike, you'll never tell nobody else that's the kind you like. Well, I looked down at my two boot toes and I uttered my assent, and I've worked a lot of outfits since, but no matter where I went, I just tried to lead what they let out, never pay no mind. But I never again said I like that old high-stepping kind. Sonny Hancock.